think, Marge. All I need is a title.
I'm Keith Olbermann, and this is The Resistance.
That's a stupid name!
I'm confident now, even more so than I have been throughout the last year, that this nightmare presidency of Donald John Trump will end prematurely and end soon, and I am thus also confident that this is the correct moment to end this series of commentaries.
We have a major projection right now. Donald Trump will take Ohio. That CNN projects Donald Trump will carry the state of Florida. Huge win for Donald Trump. Donald Trump, we project, will win in Kentucky, in Indiana, with its 11 electoral votes. West Virginia, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, North Dakota, with its 3 electoral votes, and South Dakota, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, the state of Montana, North Carolina, Georgia, Iowa, Utah, Wisconsin, Arizona, Kansas with its 6 electoral votes, Nebraska with its 5 electoral votes, and Wyoming with its 3 electoral votes.
Sorry to keep you waiting, complicated business.
This means that Donald Trump will be the 45th president of the United States, winning the most unreal, surreal election we have ever seen.
This can happen again, folks. In fact, I will be pulling for wins for the GOP as far into the future as I can get them, because pro-growth, expansionist economic policies, such as what we've gotten this year, will provide for us a society that will grow our economy and the opportunities there so that I can have a better chance of living a longer life.
The important stuff first. There are 7 routes in front of Trump. Each inevitably ends in his impeachment or resignation. The first, the likeliest, became 1,000 times more likely with the Thanksgiving news of a possible deal between Robert Mueller and General Michael Flynn.
By deal, you mean where Flynn was charged with lying to the FBI. You mean the deal where Flynn talks or his son gets rung up on some charge or another. You can get anyone to plead guilty to something if you have them by the balls, and I must say, having someone's son ready to be put to trial for something is a very good grip.
So that's the most obvious of the 7 ways for Trump to go now. Mueller really will get him on Russia. It will be ugly, and it will tear this country nearly apart, but it will be necessary. The second way is, as I've also repeatedly suggested here, that Mueller doesn't really need to prove anything about Trump and Russian sabotage of the election. There seems to be so much obstruction of justice, from the firing of James Comey to the lies about Trump Jr.'s meetings with the Russians, that it's hard to pick out a key player in the Trump inner circle who could not be guilty of it.
The problem is, Robert Mueller has gotten less than nothing after 9 months of investigations, helped along by congressional inquiries. So far, Mueller has only gotten people who are being found guilty of what are called process crimes, which is where someone commits a crime while in the process of being investigated by the FBI. Generally, this is something along the lines of obstruction of justice or lying to the FBI. Both of these are serious, but in this case, the trail is not leading to Trump being found guilty of anything a la Nixon during Watergate.
Or there is a third way. We could be spared the trauma of a Russia impeachment or an obstruction of justice impeachment, as we were spared it with Nixon, if Trump is smart or just sufficiently scared enough and he resigns. Or if he isn't, those around him who could still sell themselves by selling him out will force him to resign.
Yeah, this is a guy who has survived to this point by not quitting, even when everyone thought he was fucking screwed by the October 2016 reveal of the Billy Bush tape that the campaign had to spin as locker room banter.
And
she used to be great. She's still very beautiful.
I moved on her, actually. You know, she was down in Palm Beach. I moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and fuck her. She was married.
That's huge news there.
No, Nancy.
Yeah.
No, this was marriages. And I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where there's some nice furniture. I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch. But I couldn't get there. And she was married. And all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look.
She's your girl's hot as shit. In the purple.
Whoa!
Yes!
Whoa!
Yes, the Donald is good!
Whoa!
Oh, my man! Wait, you gotta look at me when you get out of your
sets this up.
That is very
Will you give me the thumbs
Look
up?
at you. You are a piece.
You gotta put the thumbs up.
Everyone who thought they knew anything said that this October surprise was going to sink Trump, but instead, he turned it around in the next debate.
That was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it. I am a person who has great respect for people, for my family, for the people of this country, and certainly I'm not proud of it. But that was something that happened. If you look at Bill Clinton, far worse, minor words, and his was action. His was what he's done to women. There's never been anybody in the history of politics in this nation that's been so abusive to women. So you can say any way you want to say it, but Bill Clinton was abusive to women. Hillary Clinton attacked those same women and attacked them viciously. 4 of them are here tonight. One of the women, who is a wonderful woman, at 12 years old, was raped at 12. Her client, she represented, got him off, and she's seen laughing on 2 separate occasions, laughing at the girl who was raped. Kathy Shelton, that young woman, is here with us tonight. So don't tell me about words. I apologize for those words. But it is things that people say. But what President Clinton did, he was impeached. He lost his license to practice law. He had to pay an $850,000 fine to one of the women, Paula Jones, who's also here tonight. And I will tell you that when Hillary brings up a point like that, and she talks about words that I said 11 years ago, I think it's disgraceful, and I think she should be ashamed of herself, if you want to know the truth.
When faced with adversity, Trump does not retreat. He does not quit. He fights, and he can fight with all the powers and resources of the Oval Office now. So I don't see him resigning or being forced out. And besides, the GOP is not about to do anything that will put a swirl of controversy at the head of their party going into the election year. What is going to happen is that the GOP congressmen and senators who might be behind such a push to throw Trump out are themselves either resigning or will possibly be primaried in 2018. This means that no one is in any position to pull shit like this.
A modified version of this, of course, is the 4th possible outcome, that even if Mueller is months away from his denouement, the Republicans will impeach or remove Trump by spring purely to save their own asses.
This supposes that there is some alternative to GOP leadership in Congress, even if Trump is not removed. What Olbermann misses here is that people are still ticked off at Congress for getting virtually nothing done during the entire year of 2017. So what are they going to do? Elect Democrats? The Dems have done nothing but obstruct Trump at every turn, and a Congress led by the DNC would doom the Trump agenda. Supreme Court nominations? Out the window. The border wall? Gone. An eventual repeal of Obamacare? Not going to happen. So the answer in 2018 will not be that the electorate puts in the DNC, which would only serve to block Trump. No. They will hasten the departure of the squished GOPers and instead elect people who will campaign on pushing the Trump agenda through the Congress.
The state elections in Virginia and Oklahoma earlier this month show what could face Republican incumbents nationwide next November.
While I cannot speak to the Oklahoma race, the elections in New York City, New Jersey, and Virginia are all cases of Dems electing Dems to Congress in Dem strongholds. Republicans have won elections in Georgia and Montana. They may very well win the Alabama special election on December 12th, and the overall map still looks grim for the DNC. This is not an atmosphere where the GOP is looking to throw their president overboard to save the party from demolition at the polls in the midterm elections. Rather, the GOP-led Congress is waiting patiently for Robert Mueller to show them what he has, which to this point has been nothing. On the other hand, Congress appears to be moving on a tax reform plan that was promised during the campaign. So if that passes, at least they can say they did something.
The fifth endgame is the same thing, only faster. The Republicans around him pull off that palace coup that is perfectly legal under the 25th Amendment, and Mike Pence and Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell eject Trump by simply stating he is unfit and getting their majorities to agree he's unfit. And if you don't think Pence and Ryan and McConnell would do that, you didn't see Trump's crazy tweet about the Man of the Year award or this thing in front of the Native Americans on Monday.
The problem with this is that Section 3 of the 25th Amendment specifies that the President must start this process by sending a letter to both the House and the Senate stating that he is unable to fulfill the duties of the office. He would then be temporarily replaced by Mike Pence, but would be able to return to the office by sending another letter as per Section 4 of the amendment stating that he is able to resume his duties. Section 4 does state that the Vice President and a majority of the cabinet heads can send this letter to Congress, effectively removing the President temporarily. But do you really think that Mike Pence and a majority of the cabinet are that upset with President Trump that they would do such a thing? Quite frankly, while the 25th Amendment was put into the Constitution to handle the possibility of a president becoming incapacitated, it has since become the hallowed home of anti-presidential wackos, people who want to usurp the current president because their feels got hurt.
The sixth means by which Trump leaves early is, of course, that if the Republicans don't impeach Trump before the midterms, the Democrats will be able to after the midterms. If Virginia and New Jersey and Oklahoma are indicators, the Democrats could take the House.
Yeah, and I could fart blue unicorns too. This is something that's very unlikely to happen given the political landscape that we've just mentioned.
But now there is a seventh new path to destruction for Trump, and it has bubbled up from the sewer of his life recently. And even with how Teflon he has been on this particular subject, it seems hard to believe the dam won't break. His sexual conduct. As not one snowball, but a decade's worth of them have come down that hill, wiping out all the sleazebags and emboldening and empowering the victims, it seems impossible to believe that some claimant somewhere does not have tangible evidence against Trump, and that they won't say, to hell with it, and break one of those non-disclosure agreements, and Trump will suddenly be envying Harvey Weinstein.
The problem here is that the best time for such an allegation to be made public would have been in October 2016, when the Billy Bush tape was made public. The Clinton campaign could have coupled that video with these victims, and that could have very possibly won Hillary the election. While the libs might think and could wish for a victims list similar to that of Matt Lauer, Al Franken, Bill Clinton, and Roy Moore, in reality they are not likely to get it.
So, I don't see any way out for Trump. 7 freight trains rushing at him. He might avoid a few. He might avoid 6 of them. He's not going to dance his way out from under all 7. And so this series is over. This was intended as something temporary, a 2-month project by somebody who had given up politics. And instead it became 187 commentaries and around 225,000 words and something approaching 400 million views.
That's a lot of complete bullshit to throw out there, Keithy.
And I am proud of it, and I repudiate none of it. And it has been my privilege to do it, and I'm especially proud to have done these videos for free and for charity. But frankly, I have not enjoyed 1 minute of it. As I'm certain it has also been for you, for me, it has been unadulterated pain and revulsion and horror.
I completely understand. I used to have a roommate about 12 years ago who worked at the local radio station, which happened to carry conservative local shows, and then all 3 hours of Rush Limbaugh, and then all 3 hours of Sean Hannity. By the time this man, who was an Uber lib, got home, he was often in a very angry state. It is not good for people to be in such a state, and I must admit that I spent a great deal of time being very angry at the Dems and the DC establishment during the Obama years. However, the answer is not less speech, even if it is against a president that I like. The answer is more of such speech because it keeps my side in line and on task. The GOP should listen to you and remember why they were sent to Washington. Instead, you have brewed up this concoction of nonsensical bullshit that bears no resemblance to reality. You hope to hell that your vision of the future will become true and Donald Trump will be toppled, and then you just kind of sign off and walk out the door. Well, Keithy, A good number of people thought that Obama would be crushed under the weight of all the crap that was sent against him, and he simply took it all on the chin and kept going. President Donald Trump has weathered and withstood 9 months of media annihilation, and in some cases over 90% of the articles having an anti-Trump slant. I don't see the president getting weaker because of this at all. I believe he will get much stronger in 2018 as he keeps pressing his agenda forward, and by this time next year we'll be able to look forward to a Congress that will cooperate much more fully with him.
I've made my point. So now that I think the outcomes, the 7 different inevitable outcomes, are unavoidable, I'd like to go back and enjoy some of my life again, and I'm going to. No illness, no scandal, no firing, just I've said what I've had to say. It was as obvious as I made it seem. I give my work everything I can, so it's not like I can dial it back. And I think even this dim-witted world of American political TV reporting, which is still calculating how to get Trump's idiot supporters to watch their networks, and still waiting for Trump to pivot, even it can carry this the rest of the way. So I am retiring from political commentary in all media venues. This is not to say a bed of roses and reconciliation awaits us. The post-Trump America will be relieved of his prodigious evil, but in its place it will have Trump as living martyr. That prodigious evil and rank hypocrisy and immorality of his supporters, perhaps a third of us, will not vanish with him, and I'm not sure that the democracy has not been damaged too much to deal with their lawless, unprincipled rebellion, and I do not see this country's politics truly healing in the next 30 or 40 years. But at least the bleeding will be staunched, and we will have a chance, to alter a phrase I heard somewhere, to make America America again.
Well, that was nice. Have fun in retirement, Keithy, until you decide to crawl back out from whatever rock you're going to hide under. What you see as the demise of Donald Trump, I see as the continued advance of American prosperity that will cement the Republican ideals and electoral victories for either as long as we want it or as long as we are not completely inept, which I don't rule out at some point down the road. From 1869 to 1885, we had 4 presidents of the Republican Party. As long as we hold to policies that strengthen American prosperity and grow our economy, what would be the Democrat alternative? Thanks again for watching this video. If you like what you're seeing and hearing from this channel, please like and subscribe. I will not be posting materials to VidMe because that platform is shutting down. But I will be getting back to updating my Patreon site with all of my videos, so please feel free to join the community there.